All right, section 4.1, multiplying polynomials. So this shouldn't be too difficult. Before we start, just a review of exponent rules. So when you're multiplying exponents, or sorry, multiplying bases of the same base, you just add their exponents, right? So n plus n in this case, so adding the exponents there. And when you have an exponent to another exponent, so this is the power rule, then you're going to multiply the exponents. So you can see that's mn, right? So mn just means multiply when the variables are together. So let's just go by, we're going to go look at multiplying monomial versus monomial, monomial and binomial, monomial and trinomial, binomial and binomial, and at the end, binomial and trinomial, binomial by trinomial. Okay. So remember from just a previous lesson, monomial is something with one term. So you can see one term, one term. So monomial, monomial, and we're multiplying them. Okay, so what you're going to do is you just multiply 3 times 2, right? So do the coefficients first. 3 times 2 is 6. And then you're going to multiply a times a. And remember, when they're the like basis, you're adding them. So remember, if it doesn't say anything, it's an invisible 1. So a1 and a1, so 1 plus 1 is 2, so a squared. And then we got our b, so b has there's a 1 here and there's 3, so b in 1 and 3 is 4. So b to the power of 4, right? There you go, 6a squared b to the power of 4. Okay, let's try that again. So again, multiply the coefficients together, the x's will go together, and the y's will go together, right? So negative 6 times negative 9 will give us 54. Okay, and then you got x squared, so 2, and x to the power of 5, so 5 plus 2 is x to 7. And then y is 4, and y is 2, so 2 plus 4 is 6, y is 6. Okay. And then lastly here, again, 3 times 4, 4, 8, 12. Okay. 3, 8 square. Oh, before we do that, there's something about this monomial. It's squared, right? This whole thing is squared. So before I do 3 times 4 is 12, we can just square this term as first, right? So this is basically 3a squared b multiplied by itself. So maybe I'll just write up here. So 3a squared b times 3a squared b, right? So you can do that out here. So 3 times 3 is 9. A2 and A2 is A4. And then B1 and B1 is B2, right? So we kind of just like did this part first. And now we're going to do the second. Let's write it down again. So the second multiplication is going to be between these two. So 9 times 4 gives us 36. And then we got a to the fourth and a5. So 4 plus 5 is a9. And b2 and b3 is b5. Okay, good. All right, so let's go to the monomial and binomial. So we got our monomial here and we got our binomial here. So it's two terms, right? The 2a plus 5. So here, you're just going to kind of, I guess you could say FOIL, but it's not really FOIL here. You're just going to multiply this to the first term, right? And then you're going to multiply the monomial to the second term. So 8 times 2 is 16. And then a1 here, a1, so a2. And there's a b1, and there's no b here, so just bring the b down, right? So that's the first part. Second part, 5 times 8 will give us 40. And then you have a1 and b1, and there's nothing here, so you just bring them a and b, because nothing to add. There you go. Okay. So let's do another one here. So we're going to multiply this monomial to these two parts of the binomial. So, and again, if there's no number here, right, it's an invisible 1 here as a coefficient, right? So you can write like a 1 there. So negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. M2 and M1 gives us M3. And N1 and N3 gives us N4. Right? Let's do the same thing here. Negative 2 times negative 4 gives us plus 8. M1 and M2 gives us M3. And then we have the N here. Okay, there you go. Okay, last one here. Again, nothing new, just multiplying here. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. there's an x1 and x1 there, so together they're x2. And then you have the y and z here, nothing here, so just bring the y and z. Okay. So plus 5 times, oops, it's going to be minus because positive 5 and negative 3 is negative 15. There's an x there. There's nothing there, so just bring the x. There's a y here and y here, so 1 plus 1 is y2. And there's a z here, no z here, so just bring it. There you go. All right. So let's go on to the monomial and trinomial. This is not much different. So you're just doing it 3 times now, right? Because there's 3 terms in the trinomial. So 2a times a gives us a 2a squared. 2a times b gives us 2b, 2ab. And then you got negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and you bring the a. There you go. Okay. Can I just move this over here? 3pq times 2pq, again, we're just like multiplying it into each one of the terms, will gives us 6p3q, and then 3pq times pq, so you're just adding the pq has 1s on them, so plus 3p squared q squared, right? And then finally 3pq times 8p gives us, so 3 times 8 is 16, 24. They both have 1p, so together is p squared, and they both, or only this one has a q, so just bring the q, and there you go. Yeah, so I'm running out of space for this one, but I'll post the answer key. It's the same idea, nothing new. Okay, let's go on to the binomial times binomial. So this is where we technically, here we're gonna do FOIL, okay? So maybe let's write the acronym FOIL. We'll skip the first question. Well, we'll skip this one. I'll do these 2 examples, but so I can write FOIL here. So FOIL just means first, outside, inside, last. Okay. First, outside, inside, and last. Okay. So what that just means is you FOIL, you do the first terms with the first term. So a, this one here, A and A. And then you FOIL the first term with the outside term, like that. And then you do the inside terms, multiply them, and then you do the last terms, right? The 2 end terms in order. Okay, so we'll look at this. We'll do it twice here so you can get the idea. So here, FOIL, so first term is going to be m times m, which will give you m squared, right? Then you go the outside, m times negative 7, it's negative 7m. And then you got negative 4 times m. So the inside, negative 4 times m is negative 4m. And negative 4, finding the last terms together, negative 4 times negative 7 gives you positive 28. Okay, so that's that. And now you're just gonna, second step is to collect like terms. So there's no other m squared. There's nothing else with the m squared, so you just leave it m squared. Here you got 2 terms with both m's on them. So negative 7m and negative 4m together, they give you negative 11m. And then there's nothing else just with the coefficient with no variable, so just bring down to 28. There we go. Okay, we'll do that one more time if that was confusing. So first term, right, FOIL, so right here, so 2x squared times x will give you 2x, and then 2 plus 1 is 2x cubed. And then you do the outside, so 2x times 2x squared times 1 gives you just itself, 2x squared. And negative 6, so the inside, negative 6 times x, negative 6x. And then negative 6 times 1 gives us negative 6. And there's no like terms because this is cubed, this is squared, this is just 1x, and this has no x. So that's your final answer. Okay. Hopefully, so far so good. Okay, so let's read what this says here. So multiplying binomials is often called FOIL because you multiply first term in each binomial, then the outside term of each binomial, then the inside of each binomial, and finally the last term in each binomial. So yeah, I guess we just kind of talked about that. We did it a few times, so let's look up there. So binomial by trinomial, again, same sort of thing, but what you're going to do is you focus on the first term and you kind of multiply the first term with everything in the trinomial. Once that you've written that down, then you move on to the second term and you just do that with the rest of the trinomial. So let's take a look. So multiply like this: a times a squared and a times 3a, a times 8. So a times a squared give you a to the power of 3, right? A times 3a gives you plus 3a squared. And then you got a times 8, which is plus 8a. And then do the inside after. So 2 times a squared gives you 2a squared. 2 times 3a gives you 6a. And finally, 2 times 8 gives you 16. And now, second step, you just collect like terms, right? There's only one a cubed here, so there's only one thing that's cubed. There's a square here, there's a square here, so together 3 plus 2 gives you plus 5a squared. There's an 8a here, and there's 6a here, so together that's 14a. And there's only one number with no variable, so plus 16. There you go. Okay. Let's just do this one now. Okay. So this example is going to be pretty much the same thing. So 3x squared times x squared y, so that'll give you 3x to the 4 and the y. So again, I'll multiplying like this, then this one, and this one. Then once you finish the first term, then you do the second one through it. Okay. So 3x squared times the second term here will give us 6x to the third and the y there. 3x squared times negative y gives you plus 3x squared. Actually, this is a negative because this is a negative. Negative times positive. So negative 3x y squared. Okay. And then the second part, I'm going to run out of room here. So negative 5x times right here times x squared plus y is negative 5x cubed y. And negative 5x times 2xy is negative 10 x squared y. And finally, negative 5x times negative y squared will give us positive 5x y squared. So this is kind of squished now. Okay, so once that's done, second step is collect like terms. I don't really see anything else with the 3x to the power x to the power 4 and y. Remember, when you're collecting like terms, the whole entire thing has to be the same. You have to get all the variables the same, so to the same exponents. Okay, so I'll bring that down. So here there's x cubed and a y is in another x cubed and a y. Oh, there is right here, right? So 6 and 5. So together that gives you just 1. So plus x cubed and to the y. And I'll just kind of cross these out just so I don't do it again. And then we got something squared. So we got x squared and y. Another x squared and y. So negative 3 and negative 10 because you use negative 13. X squared y. So these are crossed out. And then finally we're left with 5x to the y squared, and that's the only one there. So as you can see, you've got to stay somewhat organized or it gets confusing. I think that's the right answer. Okay, good. So rule: multiplying polynomials involves the distributive law. You multiply each term in the first polynomial with each term in the second, and then simplify where possible. So that's kind of what we did. Work with the first term, multiply it in, then move on to the second term, multiply to each term in the second section, and then once you get this long thing, then you're just going to be collecting like terms. So make sure they have the same variables, and the variables are at the same exponents, right? And that's about it. Okay, that's 4.1. I'll probably go over 4.1b, which just has a little bit extra notes, so I'll post that video now. Okay.